Thank you very much for joining me on today's talk about marine sciences at UCT. My name is Isabelle Ansorge and I'm the head of oceanography. And on the question and answers is Natasha Karenyi, who is a lecturer in the biological sciences and is an expert in benthic ecology. I've left my email up here if anybody is interested to contact me. And the other head of department who I'm working with is Tony Verboom, who is the head of biological sciences. So I'm an observational oceanographer, which means I spend many weeks over years working at sea, going on the SA Agulhas 2 and collecting a lot of ocean measurements. And we have many oceanographers and marine biologists within both of our departments, the oceanography and the marine biological sciences department. And I'll talk a little bit about their expertise and also the courses that are being offered by both departments. And in addition, I will end my short presentation on the opportunities that are possible for anyone who is completing a degree in marine sciences. So let me start with some of the obvious. I think every day when we listen to the radio or when we open the newspaper or we watch television, we hear the doom and gloom of what is going on with the oceans and generally with the Earth systems. Words like sea level rise, marine plastic pollution, marine heat waves, fisheries and food production, the great garbage patch are really common, and it's become a highly topical environment to work in. Only this week, we heard all about the IPCC report, which is a large panel for climate change, who have really started to ring the alarm bells and talking about a code red. It is now or never with climate change. And so we cannot escape the importance of the oceans in any of our daily routine. And we know that and we understand that because we also realize that the oceans absorb 50 times more of the carbon dioxide from our atmosphere, which is huge if you think how much CO2 we're currently pumping into the atmosphere at the moment. Something has to take up the excess. In addition, the Earths are really important. The Earth's surface is really important in regulating our climate and weather patterns. And I'll give you an example in a moment about how important that is for South Africa. And of course, when we look at food production, we have 20% of the global annual protein is taken up, and up to 50% of animals' proteins are used by humans every single day. So what does this mean for South Africa, and how do the oceans influence the coastline around South Africa? So this is a very short movie, and what it highlights is the ocean flow around South Africa. Anything in red represents warm water, and anything in blue is cold. So hopefully I can play this. And what you see here is just how convoluted the ocean flow around South Africa is. We've got lovely, warm, salty water moving from the Indian Ocean into the South Atlantic, and thereby influencing the climate patterns on the East Coast versus the West Coast. And what you also see with this movie is just how complex the ocean environment is around South Africa. It really is sort of a bird's nest of ocean activity, and that is very important if we're looking at climate, if we're looking at fish production, biodiversity, carbon uptake, and all the sort of buzzwords that I showed a moment ago. So how is that, well, important for us? Well, if we just look very carefully at our own climate, on the East Coast, we have the really dense vegetation. It's very green, it's very wet, and that is as a result of the warm Agulhas current flowing along the coastline. But if you take the exact same latitude and you go to the West Coast, so you go, from Richards Bay, you go across to somewhere like Lüderitz, you have very dry, very dusty conditions. And again, that is due to the cold water that we find on the West Coast. So the oceans are driving the way we live. They are driving the biodiversity, the fish stocks, the marine productivity that we experience, and they are critical in the wealth, the health and the well-being of humankind. Around South Africa, the oceans play a large role on a global context, and what we see is that waters flowing from the Indian into the Atlantic flow right up, way past into the North Atlantic, past Britain and past Iceland as a surface flow, bringing the qualities of the Indian Ocean into the Atlantic and right up into the polar seas. And then the dark blue line is how the ocean flows back as a much deeper ocean current. And that is something that we have spoken about many times, and we read about that in the paper, and it's called the global conveyor belt. It's something that most people will have heard at some point in their lives. So what sort of research are we doing at UCT? Well, we're very fortunate. South Africa essentially is where three oceans meet. We have the Atlantic, the Indian, and the Southern Ocean, and we have a vibrant coastal environment. And so our researchers from the biological sciences and also from oceanography are able to cover all aspects of marine sciences. So what I've done here with this slide is I've highlighted in the center the region in which researchers and scientists at UCT are working. So the yellow represents the regions around the coast area. And there we're looking at managing fish quotas. We're looking at working with ocean cameras to look at the deep marine species and the submarine canyons that we have around the East Coast. We take an interest in the amount of tonnage of fish that is being taken out and looking at aquaculture productivity. We also have students and scientists working in Cape Point, looking at the weather station and the changes in CO2 levels. And we also have access to a research dive unit that allows us to go into the coastal environment and do a whole wide range of measurements. We have an interest in sediments and ecosystems. We look very carefully at the seafloor from boats. We have rather exciting research combining aquarium experiments and also releasing small sharks with trackers on them. And we also link very closely with the microbiology unit as far as the invertebrates and the vertebrates in order to understand ocean functions. If we take a step out and we look at the offshore environment, what we start to see in the deeper oceans is the impact of our large storms that come through into the South African coastline and how that is influenced by the Agulhas Current. We take a real interest in the impact of the South Atlantic on the Indian Ocean and vice versa. We have access to incredible equipment, multi-million-dollar equipment, and also access to a large number of research vessels that allow us to do measurements in the offshore regions. And of course, the Southern Ocean to the south of us gives us a wonderful lecture venue, and we have a large number of researchers all playing a role and doing research in the Southern Ocean, the subantarctic environment, so the islands of the Prince Edward Islands. We were part of the Endurance expedition in the first year, that was in 2019, when unfortunately the Endurance wasn't discovered that year, it was only discovered this year. We are working very closely with humpback whales, top predators such as seals, and we're looking at polar cyclones and Antarctic sea ice. So what does UCT offer? So anyone that is interested to do marine sciences at UCT, this is a sort of a lineup of the courses that you need to sign up for. In your first year, you have to complete a number of courses in biology, chemistry, maths, physics, stats, and geology. So there's a whole range of courses there, which are all in the handbook. And then you move into your majors, which start at second year, and we move into principles of oceanography or invertebrate diversity. And so as you move into third year, you can see the course of lectures that you need to follow. We also offer masters by dissertation, taught masters, which can also be in applied marine science, operational and or marine biology, and of course we carry a very extensive PhD program. And everything that you learn in the marine sciences can also link very nicely to other departments in the science faculty, such as chemistry, geology, astronomy, and of course the science faculty links very nicely with engineering and humanities. We have a great deal of expertise in oceanography and marine biology, and this just gives you an example of the kind of experts that we have in our researchers and our postdoctoral research fellows. everything from ocean atmospheric modeling to estuarine and coastal research. We look at land and sea connectivity. We have observational oceanography. So we really have a strong wealth of expertise in the marine sector here at UCT. Where do you go if you, once you've completed your degree, what are the job opportunities? Where can you continue to study? So we work very closely with government and parastatal. We work closely with the private sector, so the Wildlife Trust, the WWF, South Africa, INJ, large fishing companies also work closely with both departments. Many of our graduates move into postdoctoral fellows at international universities, such as Princeton, University of Southampton, even as far away as New Zealand. And of course, we also have very strong connections to other universities. And there are many of our students who have all found positions or postdoctoral fellows at other universities, such as UKZN, Stellenbosch, CPUT. And finally, this is my last slide. I'm very much aware, in the interest of time, that there might be some questions. But we also realize that we cannot be just UCT-centric. We must also open up our expertise to other universities. And we do this through a floating university program known as Semester. This is South Africa's class afloat. It's a floating university. It started in 2016, and we cover all aspects of marine sciences, working with 15 universities across South Africa. We take 45 students each year, and we take about 20 lecturers. We've been unfortunate that in the past 2 years, understandably with COVID, we have not been able to continue with this program, but I am excited to say that we will start again with our 5th semester cruise, and this will take place between June and July. And the website is up there for anyone that might be interested. So that's just an overview of the marine sciences at UCT, and I'm really excited to see more and more students taking a greater interest in the marine sciences. And I hope if there are any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, please also email me, and I will just jump back to my email that you can all have a look, and you can take a note of my email address. Thank you. Right. Thank you very much, Natasha.
Sure. Hi, Isabelle. Just one question that I couldn't answer, and that is whether there are field trips in the undergraduate degree.
So I think maybe for the biological side, there might be some field trips at undergrad, but we only continue with field trips from honours. And largely because we have very large classes, so it's not easy to take everyone on a field trip. We do an awful lot of practical work on a weekly basis, and then the field component begins at honours, where we have, in fact, next week, our honours class are going to spend a week up in Lambert's Bay working with a number of marine scientists.
Yes, from the marine biology side, we have field trips from first year through to third year, but in most of our courses, and then in honours we also have that, and then we also have practicals every week, where we learn the different skills that you need in order to do marine biological sciences. Most of the questions I've answered. I'm just going to check if there are one or two new ones. That there was questions about the requirements for study, which you've covered in your talk. And let's see. There's a question about whether a student can study marine biology without physics. And my understanding is that in order to do a BSc, you must have physical sciences.
Yes.
Is there perhaps a way around that at all? Do you know?
No, you would need physical sciences to study, particularly if you want to continue also into oceanography. Third, you must have a good understanding of physics, naturally.
Yes, also in order to complete your first year of studies, you have to do a full year of chemistry. And in order to do that, you should really have a background in it. It's quite a strenuous course to get through. Just trying to see if there are any. Oh, so there's a question: is AS pure maths and stats good? Not sure what AS pure maths and stats is. Is that A levels perhaps?
Applied maths. Yes, look, I mean, for oceanography, having a strong background in maths and physics is really important. It will certainly help you understand the ocean theory, the ocean dynamics, and of course chemistry. We have a strong cohort of marine biogeochemists in our department, and we do require chemistry at undergraduate level as well. So yeah, unfortunately you're not going to escape from the maths, physics and chemistry that's required to do marine sciences at UCT.
And then there's a final question: what experience would you recommend for matric learner wanting to study marine biology? Is a semester trip only available to university students?
Yes, it's a postgraduate program, so we do have students from all over South Africa applying, but they are all from honours upwards. So you would need to move into postgraduate. You don't have to be at UCT. The whole point of semester is that it is open to all the universities across South Africa. And you just need to be in an Earth Systems science to qualify.
What I would recommend from the marine biology side is, if you are interested and you want to learn more, the Two Oceans Aquarium has a volunteer program that you could get involved with. Or if you are so inclined, you can also contact the university and perhaps do job shadowing day or 2 days with us in the various departments, and you can see what it is that we actually do. Yeah, that's probably at this stage, if you're in matric already, that's probably your best bet. If you are in, I think, grade 10 or so, I think you can participate in the Two Oceans marine science curriculum for high school students, and you can find out more about that on the Two Oceans Aquarium website.
Yes.
Just checking if there's any last questions. Yeah, so there's a question about it was that AS maths, pure maths. So as long as you have a background in mathematics, that's good. Do they need chemical or statistics? Okay, so I'm not sure how it works with the A levels. You may have to contact the admissions office or the science faculty to be sure about that, because your system is quite different from the South African system. But yes, you would definitely require maths, and then you'd have to find out from them what the other requirements would be, given that your system is quite different from ours. Those are all the questions, Isabelle.
Okay, thank you so much, and I'm sorry I was late. I was in the wrong invite. So anyway, we made it. We did it in the end. Thank you, Natasha, and thank you everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Okay.